Welcome to the Roy Anthony and every Tuesday and every Thursday. Y'all tap in.
Is this thing on? Can you hear me?
Roy
Is anybody out
Show
there?
is the spot to be, baby.
Hey, tune in. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the homie Big Hank
and Cynthia.
It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. The Roy Anthony Show. And it's featuring the co-host Big Hank
and Cynthia.
It's the hottest show, homie, on the West Coast. Everybody tune in, you dig it? It's funny as hell, my dude. It's where we can kick
every Tuesday.
Everything is going
every
down.
Thursday.
They about to do the most. It ain't a competition, it's a conversation, homie. Yo, on the weekends, the Roy Anthony
every
Show.
Tuesday.
It's during the week, homie. The Roy
every
Anthony
Thursday.
Show. What you listening to? The Roy Anthony Show. Come on and get a
tap in
before we gotta talk.
What it do? What it do? What it do? Welcome to the Roy Anthony Show podcast. I am Roy Anthony. You see my hair. I'm letting my hair got to get it done today. But welcome to the Roy Anthony Show. My co-stars be popping in: Big Hank Norman, Miss Cynthia Joy Towner. Sometimes we have our special guest Carl Loomis be popping in. I want to just say welcome to the Roy Anthony Show podcast, which is under the WO platform, which was created by veterans of the United States of America. Leading the way, our head producer, Richie King, aka Redneck Pimp, along with the co-creator Goose. Then we have our social producers, Blue Phoenix, Ethan Daly, along with our good neighbors that we always give a shout out to. That's the BB Nation, Backwood Veterans, based out of Oregon, the Long Beach All-Stars, which is Long Beach, Compton, Linwood, and Watts come together. Then we got the WO entertainment family around the U.S. and different countries, and our own personal family, friends, associates, and those who don't like us. Welcome to the Roy Anthony Show. First I want to give a shout out to my man. I never saw it. He knows I know his name, Mr. DC. That's just me. What's up, y'all? 55 days sober. That part right there, bro. I had a good time with. Tuesday evening, I was with the WO platform with Richie King, Commander, the first time that I've been in the studio with the WO. And man, we had a good time. Carl Loomis was showing up, just me. He was doing his comments. Love him very much and stuff. Love his sense of humor. Can't wait to be able to sit back with him and actually look face, laughing and joking with him. I'm really looking forward to that. Me and Big Hank was talking about that before. He said double nickels. That part right there. Always a good time for real. Yeah, I had so much fun. I was just gonna be an hour Tuesday and then being there for the whole show because and I love being around people who we're like-minded. We don't discriminate. We have our beliefs. Me and Richie sometimes had talked about stuff when we was first getting around and kind of bumped heads on certain political, things. And but we're both gentlemen in understanding somebody else's philosophies, and we have worked so steady together that I feel personal. I don't care where my status is as a stand-up comedian, performer. I always have respect for my family and friends, and Richie and his wife Shelly and their family is not just friends, they're family to me. Just like I look at Commander, him and his beautiful wife are family to me. Mr. DC, just me, he's family to me and stuff. That's how I look at things. Miss Starlet, of course, Big Hank, I look at him as family because I can express myself and self. If you ever been around other people and it seems like you can't really be yourself and you kind of just distant away, around the WO family, I be myself. I listen to them, very humorous at times, and I appreciate that. I want to give a shout out to my mother. She lost one of her best friends of 40 years, and we all know how a lot of us know how it feels to lose someone close to us, either a family or a friend who's like a family member. And when you have so many years, and I just want to give my condolences to Miss Mary Booth's family. I hate to see my mother tear up and cry and stuff because of the love that she had for her friends. And I just went through this myself, with Thai Food Panda. I had so much love for my brother. I can't even describe how the hurt it is that even to this day I'm still feeling his loss. I can't even sometimes, like, when I'm working on this comedy shows that we're working on, I can't help but to think of him because it was his idea on how to name it, and we would ponder and go over hours on how we should set stuff up, and then he wasn't there. Just me said, adults can debate and even disagree, but we never get mad at each other for their leanings or learnings. If he misspelled it, could you imagine how boring life would be if we were all the same? That part, man. I'm glad you said that. I'm going to read this again. Did y'all see? This is my man. Um, we know him as Dean Cerny. I'm gonna just say it. I'm calling him just me because out of respect. But he said adults can debate and even disagree, but we never get mad at each other for their leanings. Could you imagine how boring life would be if we were all the same? Man, you know what you just said, just me, is something that I had learned when I was in high school. I was a teacher, and we were discussing how would the world be, and we was using it as a class project of we all was the same, acted the same way. And what we found is that you don't want to be like everyone else. And that's where the corporations in this country want us to be like robots and don't say nothing, just be the same. And there's some people who actually follows this realm and makes it hard for you, because I always look at our people are snowflakes. Snowflakes are the same common ground of a frozen water, but they all have different looks. Now they say a snowflake is not the same. Sometimes you look out, you see a whole bunch of snow, and how can they manage that? And if you look under um, micro in a microscope, you'll see that the different flakes that you had are in different symbols. Who can't? But the commonality is that there's a difference. I'm a Black American. Doesn't mean that I'm not an American. As a human being, I know how to communicate. All human beings recognize each human beings. We have two eyes, we have a nose, a mouth, face the same way. We have hair grows. We stand on two legs. We operate by grabbing and holding things with two hands, two arms. Men have our male products, penis, nuts. Women have vaginas, but we have a heart, and we have lungs, and we have kidneys, and we have skin. Now, the skin is the only thing different from each other. If you shed our skin, we'll be grossly looking the same. Muscles and blood and sinew and veins. If you remove the skin, no one's inner body is any different than what's the outer appearance. Like, you can see my hair grows woolly, where some people's hair grows straight. I got family members who has straight hair, and they didn't press it; just came like that. You got I was looking at Richie King. He had cut his hair down, and he had we call it a TWA, a teeny weeny afro. Doesn't make him different from who he is. And this is one of the things that we, America is supposed to be the most advanced country in the world, and we are. The freedom to think and to invent, to come up with stuff. I look at our inventions, like the game of basketball, Dr. Namath. That's went world iconic. That's an American game. It doesn't make a difference if there's more black players playing for it and stuff. It's still an American made game. It's we, to my understanding, we created baseball. Other companies you play a game called cricket that seems to be similar but not like ours. We play football, which is what they call when they play soccer, but we play football. And we got rules and regulations in this. And now we play our professional football games in other countries. Even now the colleges are doing that. I saw that one of the players, I think from Notre Dame, whatever, and they went and played over in Scotland or something like that. I'm proud of what we've created as food. One, soul food. Soul food is American designed, created, originated cuisine. There is no place in other countries, in other worlds, in this world, that came up with smothered pork chops, baked macaroni and cheese, collard greens, ham hocks, neck bones. We came up with that, the way you season it and stuff like that. These are celebrations. We created the hot dogs, from my understanding. This is America's scene. But what I don't like, he said, I'm pretty ashamed of the guy who figured out humans can drink cow's milk. Just saying, hey man, look, as a kid, we love our milk, but as a grown up, I can't really drink milk like that. I'm not, it just doesn't do for me. It gives me the bubble stomach, I get bubbles in my stomach, it bothers me. I'm like, why am I drinking this? So it makes me not drink the milk. I can understand for kids that is growing up before it's grown ups, but my focus is, it seems like there's powers to be that works to keep us divided. Everything that we talk about, do you know that they want us to be able to be at discourse with each other? And while we so focused in energy, this everything else. I was telling somebody, eventually watch is going to come up. Space, every time I look up and we're putting more concentration in something that's really needs to be paid attention to, they're going to all of a sudden they bring up, oh, spaceship. It's always a smoke screen to the American people of what we're in the middle of a voting situation. My biggest thing is, I've noticed as being a registered voter that I see more campaigning of disclosing other people instead of telling me how does it help the American people as one. Just me said, of course, George Carlin said it best. They keep us fighting while they run to the bank with all our money. That part. I'm up here. I'm gonna tell you an example. I was listening to the debate, and I was not this vice president debate, the first presidential debate, and I was listening to Kamala Harris talk about how they was going to give each family this amount of money and all that. But then I get text messages where they're asking me for $5. You know, what's my $5 going to do? It's enough that I'm trying to figure out who I'm gonna vote for. Now you want my $5, and he's right. George Carlin's right. They keep us fighting while they run to the bank. Vance ate Walt's lunch. I don't know. I just seemed like Vance was real smooth talking, but I didn't hear facts. You know, I can't understand if you felt that the campaign was stolen from you in 2020, then why are you running again? If you know that something lied or it didn't work for you, why would you do it again then? You know, it's a to my understanding, this definition is called a cable or cabal, whatever how you want to pronounce it, CABLE. That's what it's some type of where it's our country is not based on a group of people who feels that they are the best for us. I want to know, like, if you was actually good to sit down and have lunch with former President Vance or Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, or Governor Walz, would you have the same opinions about them, knowing them personally, not of what they tell you on the TV? One of the things that's getting sickening to me is when we look at a celebrity and think that we know that celebrity just because of what we saying on the visual aid. You see me on this podcast and you think, oh, Roy's so cool and all that, but you don't know. As soon as these lights come out, I can be like, I don't like none at all. You know, you don't know. He said, if you get cheated in a football game, you're going to quit playing football. Nope, you're going to play again. But I'm going to tell you something about in football, which I don't understand. They'll say, the NFL will say, oh, we missed the play. We're going to make sure that it's right. What I'm hearing is like they're making it seem like there's a problem in voting before the voting didn't start. The way it make it sound is that, well, if we lose, it's because that's fault. That's not fair. It's not fair. Oh, if I don't win, that means it was cheated. I never heard the former presidents go through this. I never remember hearing as a kid Ronald Reagan complaining, former President Bill Clinton, former President George W. Bush Jr. I never seen nobody complain until you can mix up with propaganda, because we get more news source and we sent by the people who calls it out fake news to our phones and our social media. Just me said, I made a post about celebrities yesterday. They don't know what Americans go through. They need to just shut up and dance. But see, look here, we're talking about celebrities. Okay. If we're going to deal with politics, I'd rather deal with somebody who knows politics throughout. What you just said, just me, is something that what happened with how former President Donald Trump got into the presidency, because he was known as a celebrity, especially on the number one shows in America. We was fascinated who's going to get fired next. That's why we love stuff like Who's Got Talent. Somebody's going to get picked. Somebody is not going to, you ain't getting no. So we want to see. My daughter made a point one time, and she was 9 years old. And I still remember, she's 16 now, but I still remember this point. My son was playing in a middle school they called it the Super Bowl game. And when the game was over, my son's team lost, but they ended up getting medals for participating, not for winning, for participating. My daughter said, Daddy, this don't make sense to me. Why would you give them something just because they participated? They should feel the anguish. She said they should feel bad and work harder during the off season so that they can win an award. And she had a point. We give out, oh, well, we don't want our child to feel bad. They did try, but he didn't try hard enough. Or you didn't put him in enough time to train him hard enough so he could win. Right? Just me said, he was known as a land developer and a millionaire first. Yeah, but he was still a celebrity. He made himself a celebrity. You know, the black community loved Donald Trump when he was the celebrity, because I remember when he started the USFL, his own league, football league, and 70 to 80% of his hires were black. Some of them migrated to the NFL. In his entertainment of in casino, there was numerous of talents that he paid, didn't have a problem with paying. They said they never had a problem with it. I was reading about where Mike Tyson said that he fought at his casino 15 times, right, in his career. And I'm like, okay. And Dean, it goes back to what you said, just me, what goes back to what you said of human beings. This is what he said. He said adults can oh no, I'm sorry, I took the wrong one. It's not what this one. Adults can debate and even disagree, but we never get mad at each other for their leanings. Um, when we voted, okay, in California, we had Arnold Schwarzenegger as the governor. Worst governor I felt in the history of the state of California. I vote for him. Some of my coworkers were saying, "Oh, I'm voting for Arnold Schwarzenegger," and I said, "Why? You don't know his political views, his aspects." And he said, "Man, he's the Terminator." And I'm like, "You mean to tell me you're voting for Arnold Schwarzenegger because he's an iconic cinematographer figure in a movie called The Terminator, and this is why you voted for him?" Didn't know that. No, man, he terminated a lot of programs. He terminated youth jobs, summer youth jobs. Youth can't go up. You got to keep young people involved, or what they going to do? Oh, grab guns, go kill, terrorize. Where's their life purposes? When you have a job, then just me said my oldest has a state runner-up ring for football. Is that a participation trophy? They went 14-1 that season, set a record at state for the longest completed pass. Well, no, I think that's coming in second. That was when you playing in against the state, they came in second. I'm talking about when you are playing in a regular, let's say, for instance, he playing in the AAU game or something, right? And the winner takes all. Well, you don't get a trophy or a medal for participating. You may get, and that's what we were saying. Where see, if you just say I'm gonna participate, some people gets into that mindset. Going 14-1 is a victory. And so you may lost the major championship, but they won regions before you win the state. You got to play in different districts, right? Then he said Arnold was a celebrity first. He lives in a make believe, just like the rest of the actors. But see what I'm saying, bro. What you're saying, it's the same about former President Donald Trump. Former President Donald Trump was a Democrat for the longest. I read this expose that he was looking at the Republican Party, and this is what he stated, and you can look it up, that he said he realized how ignorant they was, and that they just need somebody to be outspoken. And that's what he did. He started being outspoken, especially during when he started making a voice in the politics more when former President Barack Obama ran for office, and he stated, I'm going to run against you because they did a black thing, a black and white thing. They brought that back up. Oh, we got this black man running this country for real. I'm going to run if there ain't nobody else strong enough to say what I'm going to say. He said Dolly Parton was asked why she doesn't talk about politics. She simply says she's an entertainer, not a politician. It's not her place. And that's my point, bruh. You just made a point and validated what I was just saying about former President Donald Trump. He was a celebrity. When the presidency ran in 2016, he wasn't even expecting to win. It was just that a lot of people in America did not like Hillary Clinton. And even though she had more votes, he won the electorals. He said he was talking about running in the 80s on Oprah. Look it up. But he was a Democrat at the time. You remember, he was a Democrat when he was on Oprah. And it's like somebody asked, would I vote for Oprah? No. Now, if she run for the presidency, I look at her as one of the queens of social media and entertainment like that. But as far as political views, I'm not going to depend on her to help me take care of my family. There's a difference. Entertainers are to get paid. We expect that the presidency and these politicians to help us to get paid and to live American life. That's what I believe. Now, if I'm wrong, then, I must got the American ideas wrong. Just like Tuesday, we was talking about the death penalties and these people's on executions. I'm just keeping it 100. I did not know if the prosecuting attorney who represents the state is considered now, if they're saying your defending lawyer say you're innocent and the prosecutors say you're innocent, it seems like you're supposed to walk out the door. But now we've learned that there's a different part of the judicial system that can tell both of them, we don't care what neither one of you think, we're going to execute this out anyway. He said, yeah, and the only reason why he changed to Republican so he could run against Hillary. That's my point. Okay, what you just said just mean if we ain't never agreed on nothing, I'm totally in agreement with you, bro. See, we American people, especially those who can vote 18 and up, you may not born in the evening, but it wasn't last night. You may have been born in the afternoon, it wasn't yesterday. You've been over 18 years. That's the minimum age for voting. A lot of us who goes back and forth, because I found out between 18 and 24, they kind of listeners, they're followers. Some families got a stranglehold and say, hey, we Republicans in this house, you're going to vote Republicans. Some people are like that. My brother and them seem to be Democrats like that. I know I'm agreeing with you, bro. He said he's not disagreeing with me. He's agreeing because you're absolutely right. Give me someone who's trained in it. When I see J.D. Vance, and it seemed like I was reading his background. He went over to Iraq and everything. And I'm like, how can you sit with someone who's saying that cats who got shot or hurt in the military are suckers? That's what he said. That seemed to be a disrespectful to me if I'm sitting in the same room with you, knowing I got friends that got killed in the combat, protecting, doing what America asks us of, in the military. Just me was in there for 12 years. He's married, he has kids. His concerns is legitimate. Any responsible family in this country, in this world, wants the best for our kids. He wants the best for his country. He wants the best for his own self. So you go and you defend the country for 12 years. But it's funny how sometimes we give privilege to someone that we like personally, but not understanding. Let me say it like this. Let's say, for instance, I was good friends to P. Diddy. And I'm against women being trafficked or manipulated. I'm against that. But my good friend P. Diddy is. Well, we can't be good friends no more because you are going against something that I really feel within my heart that is wrong. I can't indulge with you when it's wrong. Hold up, one of the other co-stars and popped in. Carl Lewis, what's up with you, bro?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Having this back and forth with my good friend Just Mean, DC.
It's always good to have a good conversation with that guy. He comes at it with a lot of facts. You know that?
Oh yeah. Then let me tell you something. Most people who has a lot of IQ intelligence, and I'm not trying to boast myself because I do stand-up comedian, but we have to dig in the facts because people will say that we're crazy, right? He just made a statement. He said because he didn't say that. He said John McCain was a sucker, which if you do your research on John McCain, you agree with him. I don't know. I just know that when I think about John McCain, I think of Chuck Norris in the movies, of getting out of BOWs, I wouldn't know. I heard that he sung and stuff like that, but I really don't know how many of us wouldn't sing if we was going through some type of inhumane torture. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's humane torture anyway, but you know what I'm saying? But
oh yeah.
It's hard for me to take it from what I'm saying is it's hard for me to take it from former President Donald Trump because he did not serve. See, a lot of us working men will look at former President Donald Trump that you was born with a golden spoon in your mouth because he never got a splinter in his finger.
This is true.
Never hit a hammer and accidentally. I think anybody who did carpentry work, you had to hit yourself at least once with a hammer.
Oh yeah.
Get that little blood.
The crazy. It's also really crazy though, is I think that. Well, I've heard and I've seen the way that he reacts to the military, and versus the whole. When you sing the national anthem, don't get me wrong, it's your opinion to feel how you feel during that time, and if you want to take a knee, that's on you. But I feel though it could be swung both ways. So Donald Trump may have been born with a golden spoon in his mouth, probably never hit his fingers on a nail or or a hammer or anything like that, never got his nails dirty. But boy, he sure loves his military. He sure respects the military. He sure that's the one thing that I've seen. He didn't bother telling anybody that he showed up out in Afghanistan for Christmas. Let's say that the one guy that got blown up and flung from his Humvee. He showed up in the hospital for him to thank him for his service. I think that he has been, and he may not have served. You're right. He may not have served. He don't know what it's like, but he sure has respect for them.
But some of the things you just said, I never seen him. Okay, I'm gonna give an example.
Okay.
Vice President Kamala Harris went to her stepdaughter's graduation, right? Mm-hmm. And she didn't bring no attention. People had to recognize her. She said, "I'm not here about political. I'm here for my daughter." What I've seen from former President Donald Trump that whenever he does show up, we all know about it. And my thing is, then is questions: is it for publicity, or is this sincere? Because if it's sincere, do I want, okay, I don't put my family situations on Facebook. Like if somebody's dying or something like that, I don't put that on social media. You and I know that he does these things because, and I'm not knocking him, but we see all these cameras on it. It's not like it went, because what you said, there's a lot of military guys that I know who have stated that they don't feel the same like you just said about.
Because when he showed up out in Afghanistan, he actually told them not to tell anybody. So he was trying not to bring a presence about him. But I'm sorry, man. When you're standing next to the helicopter and it blows your your cover off, and Trump picks up the cover and salutes the man instead of just walking past him, you know,
I
and
never think
actually,
I don't think that he doesn't have a heart and he's not respectful. I like that.
sure.
I wouldn't say that. I'm just saying is that when I see the generals, you can't become a 4 or 5 star general unless you really know the military, right? And when I
Right, you
see
got
the
to put in a lot
generals,
of years for that. A lot of years.
exactly. Now, when you see these generals who speaking against what he is and stuff, because it was going back and forth with one of the retired generals, remember? And he was like, you know, this dude is, but he won't. The general said, I will not use my power to coerce the other soldiers and stuff because I can say you go here and you go there and the soldiers do it, right?
Right.
And stuff because um just me say I truly think it's sincere. Look at the hurricane damage. Trump was on the ground talking to people and hugging them. Biden didn't get within 250 miles of the damage. You know, I
And when Kamala Harris took off for that too, man, she made it known that that's where she was going. She made it known. Trump didn't. He just showed up. He showed up at the airfield
and
with supplies.
yeah,
I think he donated like close to 150, I think it was, is what I heard, to the victims of that, not for their votes, in my opinion. I mean, some people could think different. Some people could think that, he's a loudmouth. Some people could think that, such and so on and forth about him. But in my personal opinion, I honest to God think that it was sincere. And I'm going to tell you what, I posted a picture the other day that said we better stop sending money to Ukraine. We better make it look like our country was never even hit by a hurricane before we spend another dollar somewhere else.
yeah.
You know,
But see, let me ask you a question though. Let's say that the news people, like I've been noticing like Fox seems to really look up to former President Donald Trump compared to ABC looks up to the Democrats, right? And I've seen this differential. But wait a minute, hold up. Dean just said something. Now, to me, this is funny. And so, 'cause you said how much money he donated. Just me said Trump. He said Trump started a GoFundMe for them and was in the millions in 14 hours. And I don't knock these type of scenarios. I think that there's a good and bad in every person. My point is, I'm not saying that Trump is a bad person. I'm just saying, and I want to say this: he may have had an isolated thing where he did something that was cool for these people and that people. And I had the same type of, low thinking sometimes about Vice President Kamala Harris, and that's because I was a resident of California. But one of the problems, though, that I've had lately is the conversation about illegal immigrants. Now, the reason why I have a problem with the illegal immigrants of that subject is that it's not the subject of illegal immigrants that's been the focus. The focus has been the legal immigrants. Because even though what they saying that they shipping over to Ukraine, to my understanding, which was not brought up, 117 Ukrainians came through the Mexican border, and the Texas governor and them allowed them to. This wasn't the Latinos. This wasn't the Haitians. These was 117,000 Ukrainians came through the border, and not one time did the subject. Whereas right now, every time they talk about illegal immigrant, it's talking about Springfield, where the Haitians, looks like me, are the focus of this illegal immigration. But the problem is that they are legal. If the conversation is going to be about illegal immigrants, we got to talk about all the illegal immigrants, not the legal immigrants, because I have a problem when kids are being threatened. I don't care who the person is. I have a big problem when kids are being hurt. I cannot stand when an active shooter going into an elementary school. I can't stand that. If anytime somebody wants, I want the death penalty, shoot this guy because you're hurting innocent kids. Now, when and to me, I don't care what race kids is. Man, I love kids. You know, I've been in a situation where I had to do comedy. Dean said came through the southern border. Illegals don't come through the border; they bypass it. they walk right in. That's what they said. About a month ago, I had been doing a research on the border, and I found out that not only was the Ukrainians coming through the border, Africans were too, and
Everybody
Chinese
was
were.
coming. Everybody was coming in during that influx of them. 100%.
And only the Latinos was being held back, but they was taking the kids, putting them in and said, well, the kids shouldn't have to stand out here trying to be in the border. Then the kids come up missing. This is a big problem down there. But see, I don't think one individual can come up with an idea, and I think that's one of the most foolish things that they can ask one individual as a presidency. How do you fix our borders? That is the United States and the governors of that borders. But we got to find the stop on the discrimination of the border. If you don't have the right paperwork, I don't care if you're an African, Chinese, Ukrainian, Mexican, if you don't have the proper paperwork, you shouldn't be able to come into our country.
Exactly.
Period.
That's
we can't be selective.
Yeah, that's what they're talking about, how they do it illegally and they get away with it, and there's nothing that anybody could do about it.
Carl, let me ask you a question. What if you and I, we trying to come to America in the freedom, all of a sudden, when we get there, you and I had the same outlook of life and everything, but we get to the border and they say, okay, come on in, Roy. Oh, you had to step back. You're going to feel like, wait a minute. What's the difference from me and we both came from Guacamole or whatever. You feel me?
Yeah, I hear you. But I mean, here's the thing, though. If that was the case, and you and I were to come to the border, I would take a step back as somebody who wanted that freedom and go get my documentation in order. I mean, I would just because that's how I would want to do it. Would want to be here legally instead of illegally. Yeah.
Hey, that's my point. I'm with you on that. Just me said, wasn't Kamala supposed to fix the southern border? I've been to the southern border more than she was. Between where's AOC crying at the fence? AOC, I really don't, because she feels like it should be an open trade, because she's Latina and she, I sometimes see that's biased because she's reckoning out there's a discrepancy there. Now I've been down to the border. I've been through the border a few times, sometimes missing my exit going to San Diego and stuff. And I lie to you not, man. When I went down to Ensenada, Mexico, I'm gonna be honest. Down to Dean said, exactly, nobody chasing you once you come in legally. Nobody. Now, y'all stay on that point. What you just said, Carl, you said, I'd rather come in legally. Dean said the same thing. Just, I'd rather come in legally. Now, I'm with y'all about that. I went down to Ensenada. The Latinos who was trying to get in them cars, I lie you not, man, you would think they were trying to get into a pro football game, right? There were so many cars. But the American interest was only one car in front of me, right?
Right.
Look here. When I came through, asked me if they asked me for my driver's license. They looked in, he said, oh, I said, hey, how you doing? He said, okay. Any fruit? Did you have any illegal fruit or anything? I said, no, I didn't have no fruit because they worry about fruit flies. Anybody who's gone through California, you know that you coming into California, you coming in from Oregon, they're going to ask you, do you have any fruit? Because they have a problem with fruit flies because of all the citrus growth there. Am I correct?
That's correct. They do ask you that. Yes.
Fruit flies is worse than COVID to the citrus plants.
Yes, it
So
is.
they ask you when you come into the border of California, no matter what direction, they ask you, do you have any fruit from any other place? Because they're concerned with fruit flies.
Right.
They didn't ask me for my ID or anybody in the car. The I-5 can be tricky down there. Oh yeah. But I just said something. If you legal, you said no, this is I'm gonna read it again. You said exactly, just me, you said exactly. Nobody chase you once you come in legally. Now, bro, this is the part that I'm having a problem with. Remember, I can be swayed. I listen to your conversations about about um, former President Donald Trump. I hear the conversations about Kamala Harris. I know more about Kamala Harris than I do of President Donald Trump because he was the president. But I have a day-on-day process of discouragements from Kamala Harris as being a California citizen. But they can put me in a category you can please some of the people some of the time. You can't please all the people all the time. I'm one of them all the people, right?
Right.
Um, I'm getting back to that, but he said I think that they do that at all the borders, even Canada. Well, Canada has a very serious border thing.
They
If you're
do.
not,
Like they have I've seen the border there up in Bellingham, Washington, or up in Bellingham. Yeah, I've seen the border because it's like 20 miles from it. They've got a serious deal up there. Like, yeah, I mean
you're not
you
coming up through.
yeah, you ain't coming from America into
Yeah,
Canada
you're not
without
coming through.
thorough backgrounds, you know?
Yeah, but see now, y'all made a statement. You, Carl, if you legal, you should be able to be fine. Just me said nobody chase you once you come in legal.
They don't.
This is the
They don't
problem that
chase you.
I'm having.
And there's even some that come in illegally and they don't chase them because they go in under a different social security number that, like we when I was younger, I worked in a tree farm and we had a bunch of Latinos that came over and they came up from one of the bad towns in Mexico. And yeah, they may have had 4 or 5 of them in a 2-bedroom apartment, but they were trying to get enough money conjured up so that they could become legal, and there's a lot of them
Just
that,
seen that.
there's a lot of like, there was a couple of them that as
Just
soon
seen
as he
that.
got over here, he had a nice car, he had a nice house, he had gobs of money just thrown at him because he wasn't illegal and he used the state. Those are the type of people. Those are the type of people that they're trying to get out of the country because they're taking from you and me, right? They're taking.
Yeah, now I understand, and I'm totally in agreement with you on
Yeah.
that. But what I'm trying to get to though is you and I and Dean and anybody watching has to agree there's legal and illegal, right?
Mhm.
I don't want to be talking on, if I'm a legal person, I don't want no conversation about illegal presented to me when I did nothing but being legal. It's like yourself. You made a statement Tuesday when we was at WO, and you said, I don't know how to even fill out some health form papers about your
Yeah.
health or something like that, right?
Yeah,
You
there
don't
are
know
some that don't.
where somebody might can do that, but you are legitimate. You don't know to do that. I don't know to do that, right?
Right.
So you shouldn't. It's just disappointing when you know that you didn't do that and you're innocent because you legal. You're a legit person, right? That's why you go on the case. Now, the problem that I have, I'm gonna put what Dean just said, and that's the part I don't like. Just get your paperwork done and come on in. Hell, I'll buy you a beer when you get here. Okay, so you owe some people some beer in Springfield, just me. See, my problem is this, y'all. The conversation of illegal immigrants keeps coming up about legal immigrants, not the illegal immigrants.
I see
See,
what you're saying.
yeah, if you're going to keep it illegitimate or okay, then there can't be bias. because they're not talking about the illegal Ukrainians here who could have been bringing in meth, who could be raping our kids and daughters. It was Richie who gave me the percentage of what race men that actually are pedophiles to kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be a shocking. I didn't make this up. 98.5% of pedophiles were white men. This is what Richie shared this data with me. Now, if that's the case, because when we try and identify somebody, you see some crime, we don't want to say it, but I'm going to say, oh, he was a black guy, he was a white guy, he was a Chinese woman, right?
Yeah.
A Ukrainian looks like what?
Looks like a white guy.
Okay, we got 117,000 of them illegal.
Yeah.
But we ain't talking about them. We're talking about legal immigrants in Ohio because somebody put out some propaganda that somebody was eating dogs and cats. Now, even if a person was eating dogs and cats, they not stealing. I looked up, there was no reports of nobody's dogs or cats being stolen.
Yeah, they'll be doing us a favor on overpopulation. Sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I had to, man. They'll be doing us a favor over there. Packs of wild dogs and stuff. Oh, that pack went missing. What happened? I mean, the Haitians over there. They said, I feel you on that one.
Okay, so, but people, they were saying that they was eating your pets.
Yeah.
And I looked up through the database, and not one time was anybody's pet. Now, former President Donald Trump said this. He said that they're eating people's pets. I looked it up, bro. Nobody has reported that their cats or dogs were stolen.
So my wife looked it up too. Kaylin looked it up as well. And she didn't see any reports of dogs and cats stolen. But what she did is she was talking to me the other night about it, or about a week ago after the debate and stuff. And she was saying that there are videos of people trapping cats and stuff like that. Well, why hasn't it been reported was my question to her. And she couldn't give me a straight answer on it. And I was thinking about it, and I started getting into, some of the TikTok videos and some of the Google videos and so on and so forth. And I've seen some of these videos about people eating these dogs and cats. And there was one lady that was out there that was talking about the fact that she was Haitian, and she's a young woman, and she said that they do animal sacrificing. Like, for real, they do animal sacrificial, and they eat the animals. Like what we do when we go out in the woods and we hunt for deer or we kill a cow. It's sacrificial to our bodies and what we need, as maybe that's what they need. But the way the way that it was presented during the debate, it could have had a little more facts behind it other than what was said. I kind of giggled about it, to be honest, when he said that. I was like, man, you got the side of your neck on this one.
But you giggled about it, but there was people that actually took it as truth. These kids are getting bomb threats, bro, to this day.
Oh, yeah.
And that scares me when someone's propaganda affects children.
Right.
See, I don't discriminate against no kid. I don't discriminate people, period. But I definitely kids. I can hold every little kid out there, right?
Oh, yeah.
They innocent babies. You got people who's supposed to be in their right minds threatening, bombing the schools.
Oh, yeah.
And now this is where okay, so Dean said protected status isn't a legal immigrant. No, they're not under a protected status. They became legal. It was a thing. Just like did y'all know in America, I worked at an engineer firm, Tetra Tech, and Tetra Tech they have what they call a lottery over there in Iraq, Iran, and I've learned so much about it because I've had a lot of co-workers was here. This is what got me. If they was an architect over there, without even showing the test of something here.
Mm-hmm.
You was an architect, you did the lottery. Guess what? If you win the lottery, the U.S. brought them, put them in the house, put them in the car, and told me you start here at this job, which I started with a few of them. The owner of my company was from Iran. They was doing the lottery. So I meet these guys, and I never get. I'm asking him. I said, "You mean they came?" He's like, "Yeah, we won the lottery," and I was so happy. I joined it, and 6 months later, they said, "You won the lottery," and me and my wife was able to. They gave him the plane tickets, moved over here in a house and everything, living in Irvine, California. One of the things I questioned why I asked them about their degree. We was doing a measurement for a bridge. Now, I'm gonna show you how cold I am with it. When in a bridge, you gotta get you gotta get three measurements. You got the abutment, you got the running slope, and then the depth of the water. That is called a right triangle. In basic math, if I'm giving you measurements for two sides, you can figure out the slope, right?
Right.
Which is a measure. Look here. He didn't know nothing about that. He wanted to hang over the bridge and try to measure down to the water. I said, "What you doing, man?" He said, "I've been more worried about Haitians running stop signs, hitting school buses, and killing kids." How you joking? I think all foreigners, if you ever rode around a lot of Asian people in California, they do not look or put their blinkers on. I'm just trying to be honest. They don't roll around. I found out why Latinos have a lot of wrecks. You ever went down to Mexico and drove? They have no stop signs.
Yeah, they don't have any stop signs
or stoplights, right?
Right.
He said, no, that actually happened. But you know, when you ever notice that when there's a focus of somebody, we're trying to make a point, that any isolated incident tends to be the focal point of that group. How many accidents have we had and hit some school buses? You know what I'm saying? How many accidents have we actually hit something, but we didn't even claim it?
Quite a few.
Look at you, Carl, tell on this.
I'll tell, dude. I'm honest to a fault, man. I've had, to be honest with you, I think I've probably only ran over like 3 stop signs in the entire years that I've been driving, and I think I've only had 3 fender benders and one major one, two major one, 3 major ones.
He said if nothing's happened in Springfield, why did the governor send millions in state patrol down there? Just now because of all this stuff. It wasn't going on before the national policy. I'm gonna ask y'all a question. You know how many deers I didn't hit?
Oh shit!
You never made to know. And it's got to be where when it gets to a certain point in the year, if I'm in Kansas City, I'm driving so carefully, I ain't even worried about regular streets. It's some side streets because them deers will come out and just stop and look at you. They won't continue rolling.
Yeah, they just kind of, They do it out here too. We'll be driving alongside the road down here off State Rec, and there's a lot of wildlife coming out right now just because of the season that it is. You drive by and you go accelerate, and the deer just kind of goes, "Glad I'm not standing in front of you," but they'll stare at you.
Hey man, one time I couldn't get my Justin said it was 2 days after the debate, and he said that check out the council meetings from Springfield. That's what I've been trying to do. But Justin, you also told me there was more Springfields in Ohio. I don't forget none of what people tell me because I've been looking that up. I'm writing down notes and stuff, and he had told me there was more cities named Springfield in the state of Ohio. So to make sure to check out the one. But he said that when there was millions of state patrol down there, and he said it was 2 days after the debates. See, sometimes some of us is in a protective group. This is what happened when the British segregated us. Don't you know we was all living together, and the British came up with a color reel. I lie to you not. They said we're going to take the ones that look more like us. You can look up the facts. In 1661, it was first determined who's white, who's black, who's Asian, or what they call them yellow. They call the Latinos brown, and they call the Native Americans red. I mean, for real, they actually had the color wheel. I thought this was the most devilish stuff I ever seen. We have ran with that because guess who had the guns at the time? The British. So whatever law that they said they're gonna back us up, let's just say, for instance, I got the British behind me, and I said, well, you know what? Anybody with a beard and a mustache, they can't be in a house.
Oh shit.
You see what I'm saying? Now it's observed. You why? Because I can't grow a beard. So when I can't grow a beard, then I want to get rid of the guys who do have a beard. What's that going to make you do? It's going to make you shave your beard if you're going to get up better treatment. Am I correct? And stuff. None of these guys. See, there are like four. The one we're all talking about is a suburb of Columbus. Okay, I'm gonna check that out because he is for Springfield. Let me ask.
When he first said when Donald Trump first said Springfield, I thought he was talking about Springfield, Oregon. To be honest, I thought he was talking about Springfield, Oregon, because there is one.
So you got a Springfield there.
Yeah, we have a Springfield here too, and to be honest with you, the creator of The Simpsons says that it's either Springfield, Oregon, or Springfield, Ohio, or wherever that other one is.
The Simpsons was coming from the Midwest, Springfield, Ohio, all this time too.
That's what they said, but there's also a lot of stuff that you see inside of the cartoon there that is from here as well. So anyway, that's off kilter. But yeah, when he first said that, I'm like, Oregon? Are you? No, there's no cotton picking way. This state is too easy for that to happen, if you will.
And this is what Dean just said. Just me. Not one resident of Springfield has brought up race. City council has to bring up identity politics. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I've been looking in there, and I'm gonna tell you something. Martin Luther King said, getting to know me. There's a song start getting to know me. Like, I got love for y'all. We have not actually got to meet face to face, but I got so much love and respect for you all, for Carl, for Big Hank, for Dean, for Richie and stuff. In these 4 years, we got to know each other, right?
Right.
He said Springfield, Illinois is where the Simpsons is supposed to be from. That's why I thought, oh, it's Illinois.
The creator has been asked on several occasions whether it's Oregon or Illinois.
Okay.
He won't. Yeah, he won't say either or. But you see a lot of stuff from Illinois. You see a lot of stuff from Oregon as well.
Hey, one thing I do love, because I believe that heaven don't have no color barriers. And if you start with believing in a spiritual belief, no matter what happens, they said no weapon formed against you will prosper. When we have this show, we have a conversation. This was a great conversation again.
Yeah,
I love it because the thing is, we say the same things, but I want to get this straight to everyone. It's not one individual can help us. I'm not for Vice President Kamala Harris, Mr. Donald Trump. I think that we really shouldn't have one president. I think that we should have three, like a council and stuff. You know how they do on the green, what's the man's name? The green, what's his name? Not the Green Hornet, but what's the guy who he wears a ring and he becomes a superhero?
Oh, you're talking about the Green Lantern.
The Green Lantern. If you notice that there's a group of guys that sit as the governor of the whole universe, right? Like 4 or 5 big head, bulb head guys, right?
Yeah.
Who they all discern, one person make a decision, right? It's too much division in a country that's called United States. I seen the division at the 2020 election. 72 million vote for Donald Trump, 74 million vote for President Joe Biden. That's a big thing. Now, I'm gonna bring this up though to y'all too. When I seen President Joe Biden doing some moves that President Donald Trump, some people tease him because he's an old dude. He smelled little kids' hair and stuff, and they were like, "Oh, look at him." It was getting on that. I looked up and they ain't never had nothing discrepancy with President Joe Biden with kids. But
no, they've never had a discrepancy, but he was also on them supposedly. was also
But
on the
see,
list.
with propaganda, we got to know where we facts it because he could have been an
Exactly.
old dude. You seen your kids' grandparents, Caitlin's parents, right?
Every day.
They love their babies, don't they?
Oh yeah. In
And they
fact,
hey look,
in
and they're
fact,
gonna smell on like everything, right? Now, if
in
somebody
fact,
took a picture and
yesterday,
didn't know that, would you feel me?
yeah, yesterday, for instance, my mother-in-law, Diane, that's Kaylin's mom's name.
Hmm.
She was sitting over on the couch over there, and the first thing she come out of her mouth when she seen me, because I've been home for the last couple of weeks, she goes, "Is my baby awake yet?"
You see
He's a
what
little
I'm
fucked
saying?
over here sleeping. I'm like, no, he's not awake. Can I go wake him up? It's like 8 o'clock. Sure, go for it. Go ahead, right ahead. Well, let him go wake him up.
Love their babies, right? Older
Love him.
people do like that because they're so innocent. Because we're our age, we're closer to death than being born.
Hmm.
And the thing is, I love my country, man. I really do. Anybody can say I love my country tremendously. I just don't like some of the stuff, like in our own personal family. There's gonna be cousins you don't mess with, family members, but you still family.
Yeah,
You know,
if one of them called me right now, I'd be on point in my truck, whatever direction need be.
you
You
feel
know?
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey man,
I
you
mean,
know what? I love y'all. We got to come to them. We 5 minutes past the hour. It goes so fast and stuff.
it does.
Um, Hey, look here. If anything, the president can't help you. The only person that can help you is God. I say I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody. That's the only thing that I can do. God is closer than God has your problem in hand already, Carl. Man, God, we was praying and I could feel it. But this is something as a test because you got to have your faith in him. You feel me? Do
Hmm.
we have to go through this? Yeah, Daniel was put in the lion's den, but the lions didn't bite him.
That's right.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was put in a fiery furnace, and the fire didn't even make them smell like smoke. If he'll do it for them, he's letting us know we'll do it for you because they do want to trap us. The people who's guilty ain't even facing no case. You know that, right? Those who are really guilty ain't facing the case.
Right.
Dean said McCain's own fellow POWs called him Songbird McCain because once he was in prison, he sang like a bird. See, I don't know. Some people got a high tolerance and some people got low tolerance.
And if you knew
Hey
anything
man,
about
love
what
y'all, man.
they did, those POWs, I'd probably sing too. To be honest, I wouldn't want to be trapped in
Yeah,
a
we
cage
don't
with
really
4 feet
know,
of
right?
mud. Yeah,
And
no
like you
thanks.
said, these sons probably wasn't in a command to be able to be tortured, you
Yeah.
know. Last words before we get off of here, Carl.
I said it yesterday on Richie's show. Be good to yourself and be good to each other. You don't know what kind of a war the next person in front of you or behind you is fighting. Um, Always show some sort of compassion for one another, and just when you feel like it's the end, look up. He's there. He's listening. If you don't believe in that, 988. You could text him, you could call him, you could search out one of us. We're pretty darn easy to find. We're all over Facebook. You need an ear to bend, dude. We'll listen. We'd rather spend 3 hours listening to your story than 30 minutes at your eulogy. So
That
that's what I
part
gotta
right
say.
there. And you know what? I'm backing up what you just said. God is closer to you than your own mouth. And thing that Carl said, I totally in 100% agreement. He got all my eyes, A's, how they said. Keep loving yourself and your family, man. Love God and stuff. Don't look at what you look like or how you dress and everything. Don't let nobody shame you in trying to have a relationship with God. It's not necessary. Hey man, you have a blessed weekend and your thing will be there. I say I'm not gonna say nothing until they actually show the door. I want you gonna say, man, I got it. Because
I'm gonna do a video.
it was a coalition because we didn't want to just do something just for the grown-ups.
Mm-hmm.
And so but here, see, now I'm feeling like I send something. I think we'll probably have something for the parents sent too. and stuff, because it seemed like, your mother-in-law is a sweetheart. You know what I'm saying?
She's
When they say,
she's
"Where's
an
my
angel.
babies at?" It takes it off your time. You feel me? So, all right, y'all, man. Y'all be blessed. Roy Anthony, this is Carl Loomis. We represent the WO Entertainment Platform. CEO, like my man, Dr. Dale Hoyle, me until I see you again. Native language. Peace out, y'all.
Welcome to the Roy Anthony and Friends Show. Tuesday and every Thursday. Y'all tap in.
Is this thing on? Can you hear me?
Roy
Is anybody
Anthony
out
Show
there?
is the